I want to share my story. By staying silent, I would be keeping a very serious issue a secret, and this is an issue that shouldn't be hushed about ever. Otherwise, we're just being enablers, right? And when does enabling anything or anyone ever help? It doesn't at all. For everyone, it's different in healing. So part of sharing my story is in going in the right direction of starting the healing process. But please keep in mind that we all heal at different paces and we all heal differently. So when you're listening to this, just keep that in mind. I have this thing where I don't want people to think I'm weak or a victim. So sharing what I'm going through, typically for me, is very difficult. You can see that person 2 years from now, but when you know that thing that they've gone through, and you always think of that, and it's very hard to see past that. I know because I've done that before. But here goes. I am learning to become a survivor of domestic violence. The man I love, and some of you may know him. No, it isn't my ex-husband, Kevin, that I'm talking about, although he and I had our fair share of issues as well. But the man I love and I had 2 separate vicious and violent attacks take place with a few smaller incidents in between. The first sign of abuse came in the form of verbal and emotional abuse. Then it turned into spitting in my face and breaking things all around me, hitting me in the head as hard as he could with a pillow. And I know a lot of you guys say, oh, he hit you in the head with a pillow. It can't be that bad, right? But it's how he did it. It's why he did it. It's when he did it. He would take my personal belongings and he would break them. He would throw my purse all around the room. At one point, my belongings ended up out on the front yard. And then the first attack happened. Sorry, it's hard. And I say the first because, yes, I went back after the first time. They say that it takes 7 attacks before a victim will leave her abuser. That's a lot. That's a lot. And they also say that 70% of victims actually die at the hands of their abuser after they've actually left. So that only means 30% of us make it out alive. That's not a lot. And that's hard. This is the man that I love, and I honestly believed that it wouldn't happen again. And I should have known that the second attack was coming, because he backhanded me in the middle of a public store without any care that anybody else was watching. He didn't care that I cried. He didn't care that it was embarrassing for me or for him. And all because I laughed at him sarcastically. He was questioning me and I thought it was ridiculous. And he laughed. And I got hit for it. I should have walked out the side door of the store and I should have called someone to come get me. But I thought, I love him. Just get in the car with him and everything will be okay. But later that night, the second attack happened. And both attacks resulted in broken bones. The first attack wasn't as severe, although it seemed to last a lifetime. I can do what if I just would have walked away? What if I just could have gotten him to stop and to just see me, the woman that he loves, to look me in the eye. I could get him to calm down. I could do this. I've got this. He loves me. I love him. but that wasn't enough. And the second attack caused me to need serious surgery on my face. I don't know if you can tell, but I still have blood in my eye from the attack. They had to reconstruct the left side of my face, and I still can't feel the left side of my face. I can't feel my lip. My teeth hurt all of the time. My eye hurts constantly. My ear has like a ringing to it. It's more like a cloudy feeling than anything. But I still feel it. Even though I may look normal to you, I'm still swollen on this side. They did a really good job in hiding the scars. You can only see, like, I just have a small incision in my hairline. So for that I'm thankful, because when I look in the mirror I don't technically see what he did, but I feel it every day. Every single day I feel it. You know, I thought I was doing the right thing by sticking it out with him. I thought that I was doing the right thing by protecting him. And the only thing that I found out afterwards was that he was just playing the game so he could protect himself. It was never about the love that he had for me. You know, although part of me still wants to believe that deep down he does love me. And you know, even after the last attack, he still continued to question me, why he looked at me in my face, swollen, you know, face crushed, black eyes, and he still questioned me. And I realized then that it wasn't going to stop. It was never going to change. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter how hard I tried, it wasn't going to end. And abuse rarely does. You know, believe me, all of the signs were there, all of the warnings, and I looked past all of them because I kept thinking, he really loves me, and I really love him, so it'll get better, you know, this will all fade, this will all go away, you know, and maybe he does still love me. Maybe he doesn't. That goes with a lot of unanswered questions that I have. You know, and as stupid as this may sound to all of you, I do believe deep down that there is a good man in him somewhere. You know, as the controversy swirls around, you know, he and I, it seems like everyone has their opinions, and your opinions are your opinions, and you are most definitely entitled to them. Maybe it's just that I still don't fully understand the velocity of feelings that people have about domestic violence or the severity of the situation at hand. You know, even though I was the one abused, you know, these attacks are something that are going to follow he and I for the rest of our lives. You know, but please remember this, like, it happened to me. You know, so I can't tell people how to feel about it. People on both sides are entitled to be angry because what we're going through is definitely one of the worst things, you know, in life. You know, it's like this. There are a lot of women who don't tell about the abuse because you almost want to believe, like, this isn't really happening. This isn't really your life. You know, this can't be happening to me. It's just a bad dream. I'll wake up and it'll all be over. You know, I remember thinking at one point, you know, I feel like my life has turned into a Lifetime movie, so it can't be real, right? This is something you watch on TV. It's not real life. But then also once you tell, it's out there. People know, you know, and people know the truth, and you can't take it back. You know, I feel like people will forever see this and correlate it with me always, you know, that I'll never be able to move on fully from this. You know, they'll always wonder, like, oh, there's that girl, you know, that her boyfriend used to beat her up. And I wonder how she's doing. Like, I don't want people to view me that way. So it's very difficult to tell the truth, and especially because you're always on the defense mode constantly. And it's hard to break away from that. You know, I absolutely hear and take in everything that people are saying about domestic violence. I don't want people to think that I don't get that it's a really big problem in not just our country, but the world. I do hear it all, and I take it all in. And I know everybody's just trying to help, but no one can feel what I'm going through more than me. No one was hurt more than I was. It's humiliating, it's embarrassing, it's hard every day. It's hard every day. Not only do I have to deal with this, I lost the man that I love with my whole heart. The man that I thought would always be there. The man that was supposed to protect me. Everything I knew switched, and I couldn't control any of it. It started out so good between he and I, and then it turned into something so evil. And it always felt like this tug of war between he and I was never going to win, no matter if I was right or if I talked to him till I was blue in the face. He always won. Always. And those should have been signs that I should have been noticing. But again, it's that whole your head tells you one thing, but your heart tells you something differently. I kept thinking, like, how did it get so out of control so fast? How did we go from the best days ever to the worst possible nightmare that you could ever imagine? I thought I could fix it. I thought I could fix him. And so many times my loved ones told me to get out. To leave. Because they thought that this was going to end badly for me. They thought I was going to end up dead. And with the last attack, I thought that was it for me. I just remember thinking, just do it already. Just kill me. Just get it over with. I don't have anything left inside of me. I don't have any fight left. I don't want to do this anymore. And I thought, so many people won't be able to say goodbye. And I thought about my son. And I thought, he's never going to know who his mom is because he's so young. And my daughter would only have small memories of me because she's still so young. He told me that I was the problem most of the time, and I believed it. And I loved him. After this last incident, I was so messed up. So messed up. And I thought somehow I deserved this. I did this. This is my fault. Me. I've already ruined everybody's life, my kids, mine, my abusers. And I just sat one night and it just all became too much for me. And I felt like I was suffocating. And no one knew the truth. No one knew the truth of what was going on. People speculate, but they never heard it from my mouth. And I just thought it'd be easier just to take my own life. And for those that know me, they know that that's not who I am. I don't get depressed. I don't get upset. I don't hold grudges. I don't hate. I brush things off of my shoulders really easily. I move on fast. And I knew right then and there I needed help. That I couldn't do this alone. I needed to tell my friends and I needed to tell my family. But that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Was to tell the truth. Because part of me was still protecting him. But to sit down and to look my dad in the eye. And to see the look on his face when his daughter was telling him what had happened to her and what she was going through. You know, my dad's my best friend, so that crushed me. And to see my sister, who's also my best friend, crying because she always thought I was the strong one. She always thought I had everything together. And to see the look in her eye of me crumbling right in front of her and falling apart in front of her, I don't think I'll ever forget that. That was hard. That was really hard. You know, I'm still getting used to the concept that I'm never going to change him. That's difficult. And I'm still trying to accept the fact that this is part of who he is. And that's probably the most heart-wrenching. You know, I want everybody to understand that abusive relationships are a lot more difficult to move on from than normal relationships. You know, I frequently find myself becoming irritated with people and questions, and I am constantly questioning myself because I'm not healing as fast as I'd like to or healing as quickly as I want. And I don't even realize that I'm doing that. So I have to take a step back and be like, whoa, wait, you know, they're just trying to help me. Why are you pushing them away? So it's definitely not something that's intentional. It's just something that I'm going through inside of me. You know, the nightmares that I have of him come every single night. Every night. They don't stop. And I don't know how to make them stop. You know, I wake up and I'm struggling to breathe. And I'm afraid to fall back to sleep because I don't want to relive it over and over again. You know, and I have to deal with judgmental advice and tips and move on remarks from my friends and my family who don't understand the devastation that's been caused by this. And I know everyone is just trying to help me, but the aftermath is my aftermath. I can only help myself through this. I have to move at the pace that's comfortable for me. You know, I have to work through this at my own speed, at recovering. I can't just move on because everyone tells me that I should feel differently. And I can't just snap my fingers and instantly say, hey, I'm okay. Because I'm not at all. You know, most of the time I feel like I'm standing on the line between giving up and seeing how much more I can take. And sometimes I feel like I can't really tell people how I feel. And it's not because I don't know how I feel. It's not because I don't understand how I feel, but it's because I don't have the words to make everybody else understand what's going on inside of me. You know, people who have gone through this, no explanation is needed. For people who have not gone through this, no explanation in the world is even possible to make you understand. And that's tough. And so it becomes a tough situation to talk about because everyone else has their feelings and then there's you. So it's very, very easy to feel alone. You know, I have great amounts of support from all of my friends and my family that do know about this, and there's a lot of you that don't. Well, now you do. And I appreciate that so much more than you guys will ever know. But what's going on inside of me is my own battle. You know, I have to come to terms with it. And I'm not even sure that the person that did this to me has come to terms with it either. You know, I mean, domestic violence causes far more pain and bruises than what you see on the outside. It goes much, much deeper than that. Much deeper. You know, it gets hard with everyone saying, oh, you know, you're so brave. We're so proud of you for standing up for yourself. When I've never been so scared to do the right thing in my life. You know, I'm having to deal with this. And And I'm still trying to figure it all out, and I have so many unanswered questions. And, did he really love me? Does he really love me? Did he mean it? Is he sorry? It's so hard to figure out why he did what he did to me. And part of me is still very protective of him, still, even to this day. And I know this just happened a few weeks ago with the last incident, but I still want to protect him to a point. And I know none of you guys agree with that, but let me try to explain why. The only person that everyone's going to hate now is him. And maybe to all of you, he deserves that. This is all a very weird, confusing, and emotional space to be in for all of us, for everybody involved. And as hurt as I am, as betrayed as I feel, as angry as I am, I just feel like he keeps making these physically abusive mistakes because he needs help. And like that's his way of reaching out, that he needs help. Whether he sees that or not, he does. I keep thinking, like, everyone's so focused on me, so who's going to focus on him? Who's going to get him the help that he needs? Who's going to say he needs help? No one, except me. So I feel like it's my job to still protect him, because I want to see that he gets the help he needs. I do love him. So I do want to see him become a better man and a better person. Everyone's going to say he's some monster, and I feel like most of the time I'm more concerned about his life than I am with my own, which to all of you may sound crazy, because he certainly didn't seem to care when he was choking the life out of me. But it's a feeling I can't even begin to describe. I realize none of you want to hear that from my mouth, especially because I was the one that was abused. I don't hate him. I never will. I don't want to feel any negative feelings towards him at all. I don't want to feel any negative feelings ever again. I'm done with all of the negativity. I do still love him, and I feel like part of me always will. And I realize he may hate me for turning him in, but if that's what it takes to get him the help that he needs, then I know that I'm doing the right thing. And I hope one day he realizes that I didn't do this because I was heartbroken or because I wasn't getting my way, but because of what he did to me was wrong, and it's not okay. And I want to see him get the help that he needs. He always told me, put you first, love you first. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I know it's going to take time for me to be where I need to be. If I ever truly ever get to the level of thinking that you are all alone, because I might not, and that's okay too. I do think it's important, however, that we share our stories. As I said before, domestic violence should never be silenced at all, or any type of abuse for that matter. I know I've done the right thing in my head by turning him in, but my heart doesn't feel that way yet. And, part of me feels like I'm ruining this man's life. And that's a really heavy burden to carry on my mind. It's even a heavier burden to carry on my heart, because I do love him still. And I realize his actions are what got us to this point, but it's still a very hard decision to make and to follow through with. And the legal system, while they're helpful to an extent, can be very frustrating to the victim. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't, I had no clue what the steps were, the processes, and how long it would take and how time consuming it would be. But I know by telling the truth, even if it helps him and even if it doesn't, I know I'm not going to self-destruct by carrying this a secret inside of me anymore. It will help me heal. But if you could read my mind, you would probably be in tears. And unfortunately, I heard that I'm not the first girl that he did this to, but I truly hope to be the last. I didn't share this with any of you so you would feel pity for me or feel sorry, because I don't want you to do that. I don't want to remain a victim. I want to become a survivor, and I want to help other people. So I hope by sharing my story and sharing what happened to me that I'm inspiring someone else to know that it's okay to get out, to say something, to speak up about what is going on. And I want you to know that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You know, I'm human, so I make mistakes, and I was not perfect in our relationship at all. You know, I made big mistakes, small mistakes. But nothing I did ever made me deserve what he did to me at all. You know, I didn't share this for lectures either, so people could tell me how I should feel, because my feelings are my own, and I'll get through them at my own time, my own pace. Just right now, it's too soon for me to feel the way everybody wants me to feel. And I feel like my life is going to become more of a circus soon than anything. For many survivors, their experiences are trivialized, they're denied, and they're distorted in some way. But it's okay to say, this did happen to me. It was that bad. And it isn't my fault. And it's not yours either. I want to say thank you to my close friends and my family who have been here to support me through all of this, because it's really hard every day. And I think about it 24/7. But you guys have given me a lot of strength. And I love you guys more than you'll ever know. And it means more to me than you'll ever know, for being there for me. And continuing to be there for me, because this is a battle. A mental, emotional, and a physical battle. So thank you. Thank you for being there for me.